along to the Metaverse Insider's interview series. My name is Josh, and in today's episode we cover part 1 of our conversation with Shurick Agapitov, the founder of Xsolla and X.LA. Thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. Can you please provide us with a brief introduction to your background and how it is you ended up forming X.LA?
My name is Shurick Agapitov, and I start a company which is sell digital items inside the video games when I was 21. In 2009, I moved to United States, and the company called Xsolla. I tried to raise money in 2009 and I failed. Something happened in 2008, so it's not, And I turned out owned 100% of the company. So today, Xsolla sell a lot of in-game items for the many online games, and it's a successful business. I decided not to sell it and keep it forever. I really enjoy video games economy and playing video games and sell digital items is fun. But I see this opportunity after Zuckerberg did this, and he basically distribute our dream, what many video game developers have and very well aware, called Metaverse. And Metaverse, I think, become the household name. We don't have a lot of experience. Not many people experience it yet, but it's definitely everybody heard about the Metaverse. So I thought this is the time for me to start at X.LA and explore Metaverse opportunities. So I promote the CTO to become the CEO of Xsolla, and Xsolla keep doing really well and selling the digital items and growing very rapidly with the video games industry, especially during the COVID. COVID accelerated us all. And I am spent almost 1 year of the whiteboarding and shaping my thoughts how the metaverse could look like. And I think I have a clear vision, and I started releasing some prototypes later this year, just for demonstration purposes. And I don't have a lot of things to show you, but it's already beautiful in my mind.
That's absolutely fine. Well, it's good that we can have this conversation so you can tell us about everything that's coming and also the most promise that you think it will bring to the industry. So, of course, off the back of the success of your previous company, Xsolla, that effectively revolutionized the way that game economy works and the way that developers now deal with their games. So, with the new space of metaverse gaming, which hasn't quite yet been established yet, do you intend to bring a similar sort of motive towards this new era of gaming?
I choose to believe a lot of the new technologies and innovations coming from video games, and for example, artificial intelligence exists, or self-driving cars exist because of the company called NVIDIA exists, and NVIDIA exists because of the video games. And if you think about the powerful computers and powerful iPhones, we have them first and foremost because of the people enjoy to play video games. So There's no reason to write the office applications on the powerful computers. I don't know, if you pick the virtual reality as an innovation, before the surgeon is going to do the surgery in virtual headset, most likely somebody will kill the monsters or set with the lightsabers. That's most likely. So a lot of innovations coming from the video games. And blockchain mass adoptions most likely will happen because of the video games. So because of was it 2 billion people playing video games, they have experience with the digital items. And if those digital items on the blockchains, that's the gamers is those who are going to overcome the many obstacles, whatever imperfections, and learn how to use those items. So what I'm trying to say is to conclude, Metaverse, it's not necessarily a video games, but it's a new internet built with video games technologies. So its internet looks like a video games, as a 3D space or 3D spatial space, and it's not necessarily delivered through VR. Even if the websites are gonna have looks like a video game on a flat screen, I believe that's already the metaverse, which is coming. And with plenty of the video games technology, and develop the video games is getting easy and easy because of the tools which is available right now, such as Unreal Engine and Unity, and which is available almost for free compared to what it was 10, 20 years ago.
That's very interesting you say that, because as we know, the metaverse is such a vast concept in being an aspect of Web3. And we very much know that gaming is not the only aspect of this. However, as you said, I do agree that gaming is going to be one of the primary drivers as to what allows the metaverse to truly take off and bring in the audience's interest. So I'm an avid gamer myself, and I really enjoy the worlds of Elder Scrolls and World of Warcraft. And in their own right, you could argue that these are actually micro metaverses with their own economy and social events. So it's very interesting to see how this is going to expand into what you're saying, as well as with all the hardware, the VR, the XR. This will eventually be implemented into gaming properly, not as it is now. But I do also understand that this is tricky for many individuals due to the fact that it can cause slight motion sickness. But I do find it very interesting what you say with these 2D screens. This is most definitely going to be the way that everything initially takes off.
You mentioned VR, AR. One of the device I think which will be really cool to navigate the 3D web. It's a cave. You Google that in a picture. It's Google Pictures. It's already here. It's basically the big spherical projections, and you can see be in the virtual worlds without the virtual reality glasses. It's track your motion and so on. So I believe websites, but today many of them looks like a flat book with the hyperlinks. In the future, going to have a spacious, going to have a 3D. You can walk through websites, and I like to call them meta sites. I believe I invented the word meta site, and there's a few game technology which could enable that. It's WebGL or cloud gaming, and it could be delivered. There is a pros and cons for the both technologies, but in the future you can go to the adidas.com, and it's going to be the portal there as a link. You can go through and have the opportunity to experience the brand through as it's you inside the Adidas world or inside the video games. And if you see Unreal Engine experience, which is really photorealistic real-time rendering, those could be delivered even if you don't have a gaming PC. So if you have a fast internet using the cloud gaming technology, you can just serve those meta sites. And instead of the links, what we have in the books or like in hyperlinks, I imagine it will be some sort of the portal, like in the Marvel movies. So you walk through and you end up in the different locations. So, and it's important, all of those meta sites, they, like an internet, it's not the one virtual worlds like Roblox or Fortnite. Those I call them virtual worlds. They're not, there's no portals between them. But once you have the portals from the Fortnite to the Minecraft, and you can transfer items for those portals, that's, I think, we can say metaverse is here, which is, from my view, is just a new internet, our next iteration of the internet. There was a few iterations of internet before. There was Internet of Things, which is totally different, right? With the WAP internet, if you recall, for the future, with mobile web which was slightly Internet of Apps. So with many iterations of the internet before, and I think the metaverse is just this 3D video game look-like internet. And my definition of the metaverse, or definitions, it's not mine. I borrow it, but I really adopt it and like. Metaverse is here when you have the virtual spaces, virtual items, and the users who can carry the items from the one spaces to another. And there's opportunity on those three verticals for the businesses. You can be in the business of creating the virtual spaces or meta sites. Think about like game developers become the website developers or meta site developers, if you think about it. With the virtual items, all of those brands out there, and we already understand that the people value digital items. There's going to be abundance of those digital items, and I think every brand want to have the digital item, and with people who are going to create those digital items. And NFT is just a database or standard, which is make those items tradable, sellable, if the creator of this item want them to be tradable, sellable, or it can be centralized and achieved through some sort of the open API with some sort of filters and permissions. But NFT is just database. And the last opportunity, if all about the users, and that's think about the wallet business and how people carry the items where they have a login, avatar systems, and a backpack and all of that, right? And a keychain. So it's those three business opportunities, I think, coming, and how to make them all together. That's a new internet, and that's, some people call it metaverse.
Absolutely. It's quite a phenomenal concept to comprehend. Even bringing all that together to make every potential gaming universe interchangeable, where you can just jump into all these different worlds. I know that can actually raise quite a few issues in the world of gaming concerning how they'll maintain the essence of what the game actually represents. So can you highlight what are some of the major challenges in creating this course into the metaverse?
What I describe, I don't want to call them, I don't want to call it the video games. I want to call it meta sites, and then the reason is it's video games as an experience. Think about like a theme park. You go in a theme park and you get entertained. So what I'm trying to say is, imagine you creating the brand, I don't know, restoration hardware brand, the furniture store. You go to the store and you have the feel of the brand. And that's a very deep relationship between you and the brand, much deeper when you just surfing through the flat web. So if it's a flat web or the web pages, they have the massive reach. So you can have you create an online catalog of the furniture, and people can go through this, millions and millions of people. Here you may have much deeper relationship with the consumers and telling the brand story is an interactive way. So those virtual worlds, they're not necessarily the games. They're not going to be like adventure games. It's going to be a storytelling experiences, and that could be a brand story or educational story or social story. And they looks like they built with the video games technology, but they're not necessary for the entertainment purposes. It's hard to predict what they for, because it's like hard to predict what's iPhone apps gonna be before the iPhone release. So we cannot predict the Uber, and we don't definitely not create the iPhone to have the Uber or Instagram. Whereas Uber and Instagram was created because of the new capabilities and because it's high resolution camera on this device and and the geolocation capabilities.
Fantastic. I like the way that you've actually termed the phrase meta sites. I've seen it actually on the feature on your website, and yeah, it's very clear. It's actually very interesting to build into that concept. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're not necessarily making these games, but you're gamifying experiences using the in-game technology to make it more accessible. I find this brilliant. So you've also got another feature as well, which I'd like you to address a little bit, called metamor. What does this entail exactly?
So those meta sites, in order to make them decentralized, the economy, this metaverse is also not only creating the opportunity to create a new form look for the internet, but it's also a new business model. So today, virtual world hosted by one provider, and all the user-generated content in a Fortnite or Roblox consumers can create, but it's all curated and owned by one entity. So I believe those meta sites, basically like a websites developed by the video game developers technology, but instead of the games, they develop in the brand stories and the theme parks related to some certain IPs. I want those meta sites was created with the different business model. It's like an old Hollywood model when the bunch of people come together with a producer of the show or producer of the movie who have a creative vision, with the production director or video game developer team who can execute that vision. And with a list of the artists who is a contribute to this meta sites come to life, and maybe with a sponsor, brand or DAO or NFT collection, who can invest in the productions. But I want it permissionlessly and I publish on their own domain name. Not X.LA will have some highlight, some of the catalog and links, but we want they hosted on the very own domain. And the idea to have those revenue share on blockchain for everybody who contribute to the meta sites. So think about it like a meta site, like a movie. Each of them, it's often going to be like one movie created with group of the people, and second movie with slightly different group of the people. The people who like to work with each other, they have a tendency to create many series of the projects, but they all kind of independent on its own. Revenue share on blockchain would allow us to create this form of cooperation for the meta sites, producers and creators. So in metamor is a place what we want to have people find. We want to build a marketplace where people can post the projects and we can co-creators and roles for the exchange of the revenue share. Think about like a freelance job post, but instead of the paying, you have opportunity to get the credits and the points, meaning percent of the sale. Blockchain guarantee allow us to make the internet strangers to cooperate with each other.
Fantastic. Or just to elaborate on how you're going to help this happen, because I personally believe blockchain technology and high performance cloud computing to be essential in order to allow all this to actually occur in the first place. Where do you stand on this? And what do you believe to be the most important technologies to help propel this into the concept that we all envision?
I think that every technology, what I mentioned already here, the biggest challenges right now is coordination and alignment. And if I would build a company, if X.LA, if those meta sites is going to be a company, it's much easier to build. I've done this before. It's decentralized, but I still naively attempt to create the X.LA as a hub for the people to come together and build this, because I don't want to own it. It's impossible to own internet. And the biggest challenge is coordination with this outside of the traditional corporations, I would say.
Well, as you were saying, decentralization in this is quite crucial. It's very hard to just own the entirety of it because it's effectively a community-based project in layman's terms.
For me, enterprise would be easy. It's easy to me, but it's wrong direction.
Thank you very much. Well, that's a wrap for part one of our conversation with Shurick Agapitov, founder of Xsolla and X.LA. Be sure to stay tuned for weekly updates in the industry and content covering all things metaverse. Follow the Metaverse Insider on Twitter and LinkedIn, and visit metaverseinsider.tech for all our content. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.